Welcome back to the channel where we explore the most shocking scandals and untold stories from reality TV. Today we dive into a story that shook the world of 90 Day Fiancé. A story of love, betrayal, court drama, and a scandal no one expected. Elizabeth, once known as the devoted wife of Andrei, shocked fans and her family when she announced she was pregnant. But the father wasn't Andrei. It was Alex, her secret boyfriend. What followed was heartbreak, lawsuits, and a courtroom verdict that sent Elizabeth to prison. For 5 months, Elizabeth had secretly been in a relationship with Alex. She told Andrei, "I will not stay with you. I am carrying Alex's child, and I will only marry Alex." Andrei was completely shattered. He never imagined such betrayal. Andrei later filed a lawsuit against Elizabeth, accusing her of betrayal and financial fraud. He argued that legally, since Elizabeth conceived while still married to him, he would be considered the child's father. He also claimed Elizabeth had borrowed $65,000 from him, which she denied. In court, Andrei's claims were proven true. The evidence showed that Elizabeth had broken the law and embezzled $65,000. She was sentenced to 5 months in prison. This isn't just gossip, it's real-life drama, unfolding like a movie. Elizabeth sat across from Andrei in their living room, her hands shaking but her voice steady. The cameras of 90 Day Fiancé had captured many arguments between them, but nothing like this. "Andrei," she said firmly, "I need to tell you something. I'm pregnant, but the father is not you. It's Alex." Andrei's face froze in disbelief. He thought he misheard her, but Elizabeth's expression left no doubt. She continued, "I will not stay with you. I am carrying Alex's child, and I will only marry Alex." Andrei's world collapsed. He had sacrificed everything for Elizabeth, leaving his home country, facing criticism from her family, and fighting to prove his love. Now, the woman he trusted most had betrayed him. "Elizabeth, how could you?" he whispered, his voice breaking. Elizabeth avoided his gaze. For 5 months, she had been secretly involved with Alex, a man she met through mutual friends. Their relationship had grown in secret, hidden from Andrei and the world. Andrei's anger grew. "You lied to me. You lied to everyone. Do you even understand what you've done?" Elizabeth's response was cold. "I understand perfectly. I don't love you anymore. I love Alex, and this child will be his." The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it became public. Friends and family whispered, and social media exploded with memes and debates. But for Andrei, this was his life crumbling. That night, he sat alone, replaying Elizabeth's words in his mind. The betrayal cut deep. Andrei knew this wasn't just about love. It was about dignity, trust, and the destruction of everything he had built. A determination grew in him. Elizabeth couldn't walk away without consequences. Elizabeth had been living a double life. One as Andrei's wife, the other as Alex's lover. What started as friendly conversations with Alex grew into secret meetings. Alex was charming, playful, and offered freedom where Andrei demanded loyalty. Elizabeth felt understood in Alex's arms. Late-night texts turned into secret meetings, dinners, whispered promises, and plans for a future without Andrei. Elizabeth shared her doubts, regrets, and longing for a different life. But every secret had a cost. She still lived under the same roof as Andrei, pretending to be loyal. Each return from meeting Alex weighed heavy on her conscience. She invented excuses to leave the house, while Andrei trusted her completely. Then came the moment that changed everything. Elizabeth found out she was pregnant. She knew immediately the child was Alex's. She wrestled with the truth for weeks. Hide it or confess. She chose to confess. She would not live a lie or raise Alex's child as Andrei's. When she told Andrei, the secret affair became a public scandal. Family took sides, friends whispered, and social media speculated. Was Elizabeth justified, or was she selfish? For her, it didn't matter. She had chosen Alex, chosen her child, and burned bridges behind her. But her choice sparked a war beyond love. Andrei wasn't just heartbroken. He was determined to fight back for justice. The scandal had begun. The night after the confession, Andrei sat alone. Every second felt heavy. He replayed Elizabeth's words, "I will not stay with you. I am carrying Alex's child, and I will only marry Alex." Each repetition cut deeper. Andrei had always believed love could survive hardships. He left his home country, Moldo, to build a life in America with Elizabeth. He faced criticism from her family and fought stereotypes, proving he wasn't with her for money or a green card. He worked tirelessly to provide, to protect their life together, only to have it shattered by betrayal. Andrei had worked hard to protect, to love, and now all of it had collapsed in a single moment. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was public. Elizabeth's announcement spread quickly among friends, family, and fans of 90 Day Fiancé. Social media exploded with shock and speculation. Some sympathized with Andrei, calling Elizabeth's actions unforgivable. Others blamed Andrei, saying he was too controlling and that Elizabeth had sought freedom in Alex's arms. But none of that mattered to Andrei. What mattered was the hollow ache in his chest, the emptiness of his home, and the realization that the woman he trusted most had chosen another man. He wandered through the house that night, staring at photographs on the walls. Smiling faces, happy moments, promises of forever, all now tainted by betrayal. He picked up a framed photo of their wedding day. Elizabeth's smile was radiant, her eyes full of hope. Andrei's own face showed pride and love. He smashed the frame against the floor, unable to bear the sight. Anger surged through him, but despair followed quickly. He collapsed onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. Tears streamed down his cheeks, though he tried to fight them back. For a man who prided himself on strength, vulnerability felt like defeat. Yet beneath the heartbreak, a spark of determination flickered. Andrei realized that Elizabeth's betrayal carried consequences. She was still his wife, and by law, the child she carried could be considered his. If she thought she could walk away without accountability, she was mistaken. The next morning, he confided in a close friend. "She betrayed me," he said, voice trembling. "But I will not let her destroy me. I will fight back. I will take this to court." His friend tried to console him, but Andrei's mind was already racing. He thought about the sacrifices he had made, the money he had lent Elizabeth, the trust she had shattered. He remembered the $65,000 she had borrowed and now denied ever taking. For Andrei, this was no longer just about love. It was about justice, reclaiming his dignity, and proving that betrayal had consequences. As the days passed, Andrei's heartbreak hardened into resolve. He began gathering evidence, preparing for the battle ahead. The man who had once been broken was now ready to fight. Elizabeth had chosen Alex, but Andrei would choose the law, and in the courtroom, he would expose the truth. The scandal spread beyond their home. Families reacted with shock, anger, and division. Elizabeth's relatives had always been skeptical of Andrei. From the beginning of their relationship, they questioned his motives, calling him controlling and too strict. For years, Elizabeth defended him, insisting he was misunderstood. But now, her family felt vindicated. Her sister spoke first. "We told you, Elizabeth. We warned you about him. Maybe Alex is the man you were meant to be with." Not everyone in her family supported her. Her father, who had tried to guide her through marriage, was furious. "You betrayed your vows, Elizabeth. You betrayed your husband. This isn't about right or wrong anymore. It's about the choices you made, and those choices have consequences." Family gatherings that once brought laughter became heated debates. Some sided with Elizabeth, saying she had the right to pursue happiness even if it meant breaking her marriage. Others supported Andrei, condemning Elizabeth's actions as selfish and destructive. Meanwhile, Andrei's circle in Moldova reacted with outrage. His parents, who had welcomed Elizabeth during visits, felt humiliated. "She dishonored our son," his mother said, tears streaming down her face. Andrei's friends rallied behind him, seeing Elizabeth's betrayal not just as personal, but as public humiliation. The scandal quickly became a family war. Elizabeth's relatives accused Andrei of being too rigid, too demanding, and driving her into Alex's arms. Andrei's family called Elizabeth deceitful, manipulative, and ungrateful. Social media amplified the chaos. Fans dissected every detail, creating hashtags, memes, and debates. Some defended Elizabeth, claiming she was brave for choosing love. Others condemned her, calling her a traitor and a fraud. Behind the noise, families were torn apart. Elizabeth's father refused to speak to her. Andrei's parents urged him to return to Moldova and start fresh. Siblings argued, some cutting ties with Elizabeth entirely. What began as a private affair became a public scandal, poisoning every call, family dinner, and holiday gathering. Andrei found strength in his family's support. Their outrage fueled his determination. Elizabeth felt isolated. Even though Alex stood by her, her father and siblings' disapproval weighed heavily. The scandal was no longer just about Elizabeth and Andrei. It was two families, two cultures, and two worlds colliding. One thing became clear. The battle wouldn't be settled in living rooms or family dinners. It would be settled in court. Andrei knew emotional outrage alone wouldn't bring justice. Betrayal was one thing, but financial fraud was another. He believed Elizabeth had not only broken his heart, but also stolen from him. He decided to take her to court. The lawsuit accused Elizabeth of betrayal of marital trust and financial fraud. He claimed she borrowed $65,000 during their marriage, promising to repay it, but now denied ever taking it. For Andrei, this was about dignity, accountability, and the law. The courtroom became the new stage for their drama. Fans watched in disbelief as the scandal moved from reality TV to real legal proceedings. Headlines screamed, Elizabeth and Andrei's marriage implodes in courtroom showdown. On the day of the first hearing, Andrei entered the courthouse with a stern expression. His suit was crisp, his posture rigid, but his eyes showed the pain he carried. He wasn't just seeking justice, he was demanding recognition of his suffering. Elizabeth arrived separately with Alex. Her presence was a statement. She had chosen her side and wasn't afraid to show it. Seeing Alex beside her fueled Andrei's anger, but he stayed composed. He knew the courtroom was for evidence, not emotion. The judge listened as Andrei's lawyer presented the case. Documents, bank records, and testimonies showed Elizabeth's financial dealings. The lawyer argued that Elizabeth manipulated Andrei, borrowed money under false pretenses, and abandoned him once she secured her relationship with Alex. The courtroom was tense. Every eye in the room followed Elizabeth and Andrei as the proceedings began. Andrei's lawyer spoke first, laying out the claims against Elizabeth. He explained how Elizabeth had borrowed $65,000 from Andrei under the pretense of marriage expenses and personal emergencies. Then she denied ever taking the money, leaving Andrei with no choice but to pursue legal action. The lawyer presented bank statements, text messages, and witness testimony that traced every step of the alleged deception. The court learned how Elizabeth had led a secret life with Alex for months, hiding the affair and manipulating Andrei's trust. Each piece of evidence painted a picture of betrayal, not just emotional, but financial. Elizabeth sat silently, Alex holding her hand. Her expression was calm, almost defiant, but inside, tension simmered. The reality of the courtroom was different from the private battles she had fought at home. This was no longer a matter of love. It was a legal judgment waiting to be made. Andrei watched quietly, his jaw tight, his hands clenched. Every piece of evidence reminded him of the sacrifices he had made, leaving his home country, adapting to a new culture, and giving Elizabeth everything he could. And now all of it had been betrayed. The testimony began. Andrei took the stand first. His voice was steady at first, recounting his love for Elizabeth, the life they had built together, and the trust he had placed in her. He described the moments when he had gone above and beyond to support her, both emotionally and financially. Then came the revelation of her affair with Alex. Andrei's voice broke as he described the shock of discovering her pregnancy and the truth about the child's father. I gave her everything, he said quietly, and in return she betrayed me. She lied to me. She lied to everyone around us. And now I'm left to pick up the pieces. Elizabeth's lawyer stood to question Andrei, trying to frame his actions as controlling or overbearing. But Andrei stayed calm, refusing to let emotion cloud the facts. I loved her, he said simply. I never forced her. I never asked for anything beyond honesty. And that's what she took from me. Next, witnesses testified. Friends and family described Elizabeth's behavior leading up to the confession. They told the court about her secret outings, the excuses she made to leave the house, and the subtle signs of her growing attachment to Alex. The evidence was clear. This was not a sudden decision. It was a calculated deception over months. Then came the financial proof. Bank transfers, loan documents, and messages between Elizabeth and Andrei all confirmed the $65,000 had been borrowed and never repaid. Elizabeth tried to explain, saying she had no memory of taking the money or that she had spent it for personal emergencies. The court, however, saw patterns that pointed to deliberate manipulation. The tension in the courtroom was palpable. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but outside, reporters and fans tracked every moment. Social media exploded with updates, hashtags, and debates. Everyone had an opinion, but the judge focused only on the facts. After hours of testimony, closing arguments were made. Andrei's lawyer emphasized the emotional and financial toll of Elizabeth's actions, arguing that betrayal should not go unpunished. Elizabeth's lawyer tried to frame her as a victim of circumstance, a woman seeking love outside a marriage that was failing. The judge listened carefully, taking notes and reviewing the evidence. After deliberation, the verdict was announced. Elizabeth had indeed violated the law. She was found guilty of embezzling $65,000 and committing fraud during her marriage to Andrei. The courtroom was silent as the sentence was read. 5 months in prison. Andrei felt a strange mixture of relief and lingering pain. Justice had been served in court, but the emotional wounds remained. He had reclaimed some dignity, proving that betrayal carried consequences. Yet, the damage to his heart and to his trust could not be reversed. Elizabeth was led away, her face unreadable. Alex followed, but even his presence couldn't erase the gravity of the situation. Outside the courthouse, reporters pressed for statements. Andrei simply said, "The truth has been revealed. The law has spoken. That's all I can ask for." Life after the courtroom changed for everyone. Andrei returned to his daily routine, slowly rebuilding the life that had been shaken to its core. Friends and family continued to support him, and his faith in fairness and accountability helped him heal. Elizabeth served her sentence, but the social consequences lingered. Her relationship with Alex remained strained under the scrutiny of the public and the judgment of her own family. The scandal had left a permanent mark, a cautionary tale about deceit, trust, and the cost of betrayal. Fans of 90 Day Fiancé continued to discuss the case for months. The story of Elizabeth, Andrei, and Alex became one of the most infamous scandals in the show's history. Memes, interviews, and debates circulated endlessly online. But for those involved, it was never entertainment. It was real life, with real consequences. Andrei's story, in particular, became a symbol for resilience. He had been wronged, humiliated, and heartbroken. Yet he fought for justice rather than letting anger consume him. He proved that betrayal, no matter how public, could be met with dignity, courage, and legal recourse. In the end, the scandal didn't just expose the affair or the financial fraud. It revealed deeper truths about relationships, trust, and accountability. It showed that actions have consequences and that love without honesty can quickly turn into devastation. Elizabeth's choices had shattered her marriage, strained her family, and put her freedom at risk. Andrei's response showed that standing up for oneself, even in the face of personal heartbreak, can restore a sense of justice and closure. The story of Elizabeth, Andrei, and Alex remains a stark reminder of how complex and fragile human relationships can be. It shows how passion, secrecy, and deceit can escalate into legal battles and public scandal. Most of all, it demonstrates the importance of trust, honesty, and accountability in any relationship. Even months later, Andrei reflected on everything he had endured. He realized that while heartbreak was painful, it had also made him stronger. He had learned the value of standing firm, protecting his dignity, and seeking justice when wronged. For Elizabeth, the consequences were a harsh lesson. The choices she had made in pursuit of love and freedom came at a heavy price. Her story serves as a warning that deceit, no matter how carefully hidden, eventually comes to light. Ultimately, this saga wasn't just about a love triangle or a reality TV scandal. It was a story of human emotions, mistakes, and the struggle to balance personal desires with moral and legal responsibility. It was a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and the courage to fight back. The chapter closed with Andrei moving forward, stronger and wiser, while Elizabeth faced the consequences of her actions. The scandal had shaken lives, divided families, and captured the attention of fans worldwide. But in the end, it reaffirmed one truth. Actions have consequences, and justice, though sometimes delayed, can prevail. After the courtroom verdict, life changed for both Andrei and Elizabeth in ways neither could have imagined. Andrei returned home, but the house felt emptier than ever. Every corner, every memory reminded him of the betrayal he had endured. The walls held echoes of laughter that now felt hollow, and photographs of happier times seemed like relics from a life that no longer existed. He spent hours reflecting on the choices he had made, leaving Moldova, building a life in America, trusting Elizabeth with everything he had. And now he realized